Yo, welcome to the Table Talk podcast, where we sit down, pull up a chair, and we get started. This podcast is designed to provide you packed full of information to help you with your training, nutrition, lifestyle, and well-being, where we interview myself through case studies to give you lifetime experience. And then we also interview high-performing individuals or other career-focused people who are looking to make changes in their lifestyle, training, nutrition, and well-being. So let's pull up that chair and let's go. Welcome to the Table Talk podcast. My name's Carl. I'll be taking you through kind of a bit of a journey of programming, systems, methods, and kind of how did we start and where have we gone and kind of what are we using at Vitruvian Health. So long ago, when Carl was a young little boy, where he thought 69 kilos was the best weight to sit out all year round. What a juvenile little child you are. So yeah, way back. Training for me was we're going to do burpees today with some bench press and some pull-ups. And so that's what I was given when I started in the fitness industry. And so my routine was circuit class on Monday, body pump, a boot camp on Tuesday, cycle on Wednesday, so cardio. Then Thursday would be body pump class, so weights class, or boot camp again, or sleep in. Friday was boxing, and then Saturday was the double, which was cycle and then RPM. So that's kind of what I used to do for a long time. And then kind of divulged into Pilates on Wednesdays and Saturday, and then yoga on Sundays. And so I went, and then in the afternoons, I would do tennis, soccer, sprinting. So I was doing like quite a lot. And so it also was very hit and miss. So there was no data. There was nothing that was tracked. There was nothing that was measured. So usually it was just, am I 69 kilos this week? Yep, cool. How do I feel? Tired, eat a bit more, do a little bit more of this, do a bit more of that. So it's pretty fun, pretty sporadic. And I was pretty weak. I could do pull-ups for days, but that was about it. So I couldn't bench 40, 50 kilos. I couldn't squat more than my body weight. Couldn't deadlift. I thought deadlifting was to the knees. So for me, into the fitness industry was pretty interesting. And then I got given my first program, which was a 3-day split program, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And this was me at about 16, 17, actually. 3-day split program. So it's full body and everything was 20 reps. Just 20 reps. Just rep it out, feel the burn, and off we go. Now, I used Kaiser machines. I used a bit of cable. Was not a lot of free weight. I did lunges, which was the length of the gym, walking lunges. And yeah, that was about it. And it was just literally to put on muscle. So that was my cookie cutter program, because then I got a job at the gym and I realized, oh, everyone gets this program. Everyone goes onto the leg press Kaiser machine, the chest press Kaiser machine. They do seated rows on the cable. They do walking lunges. And it was pretty clear back then that the gym had a really good system. They used to pump out a lot of people. Millennium Health Club. And back in the day, Helen, Jared, Mark, Ray, Kay, great group of people, because Helen was a really smart woman. She had systemized, automated a business and a structure and a system that, like, to me, I thought was pretty, like, wasn't like the bells and the whistles. Like, I thought everything had to be fancy. And that was me not thinking like a business owner. Like, she had it all systemized, automated. She was really switched on lady. She also built a facility that had everything you needed. So she had Kaiser, which catered to elder population. She had classes for Gen Pop. She had the cardio machines. Like, she invested in everything that was needed. So a lot of the gyms, like I work in the moment, like in Anytime Fitness, we got cables, we got free weights, a lot more free weight stuff. And to me, I was like, we need all of this. But she'd thought about people that weren't in the gym yet. So she had systems and programs from a team that could support anyone from the beginning to the end. And so me looking at me then, it's like, yeah, I thought I was hot stuff, but I really functionally, from a group fitness perspective, I knew what to do. But then when it came to progressively overloading, working full range of motion, tempo, I didn't have a knowledge there. It was just two down, two up, like dun 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 dun, dun to the beat of the music. And so when, you know, at a young age of 17, 16, like I should have been given squats and deadlifts and bench, but if you have a team of trainers, like different skill sets and levels, and I was given someone maybe brand new, it was safer to have a system that would guide me to where I was. And I'm actually really grateful for it. At the time, I was like, but I was dumb and naive as we can all gather. It was like, that's what we're doing today. So this video is to really give you an insight that we all start somewhere. And hopefully this video will give you some tools, some tricks and tips to help you really take your training to the next level. Or if you're working with one of our trainers at Vitruvian Health, gives you a bit of an idea of kind of how we structure and what we do. So over the years, I've worked with many other coaches. We've done double undulating programs, and the double undulating program is where you'll say train upper, lower, doing say 6 to 8 reps, and then at the end of the week you'll do upper, lower again, and you're doing 15 to 20 reps. So you're undulating rep schemes and volumes and loads. Then you could do a upper lower split. So when I worked with one coach, we did upper, so upper then lower, but then we did the exact same thing 2 days later. So then if I'm doing bicep curls for 8 reps, in 3 days' time, when I do bicep curl for 8 reps again, I should be able to add an extra rep or add more weight. So it's much easier to remember. It's like, oh, is it my high rep day or my low rep day? I'm not sure. So that worked well for people that are very busy, choosing upper lower split. Then there was another coach for body composition where it was just trained full body. So we had a full body, which was like the front of my body, and the next day was the back of the body. And so that did that 3 times a week. So did the front of the body 3 times a week and the back of the body 3 times a week. So like really like, oh, this is tough. But again, if you do something frequently, you'll pick it up a lot faster. So I saw my loads and strength go quite quick enough. Then from a strength perspective, because you can lift up more and more, but then there's a breakdown, like you hit fatigue, you don't recover properly. And because I couldn't even lift more than my body weight, well then it was fine. But once I started lifting more than my body weight, I found it hard to recover. And so then I went into a strength phase where it was like, we do squats this day, we do bench the next day, we do pull-ups the other day, deadlifts another day. And so it was very skill focused. I've worked with 3-week splits, so 3-week programs. So every 3 weeks, the program changes. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 20 weeks. So this podcast and this video is really to just talk through what's out there and what works and what doesn't work. And honestly, what works, it all works. Like it all works. Because at the end of the day, what doesn't work is your technique. So, like there are people that are going, well, what's better? Is it 5 reps, 6 reps, 10 reps, or 11? At the end of the day, all the reps are good. You could talk about type 1, type 2A, type 2B fibers. They all get stimulated, but some are favored more than others. Is lifting 5 reps, if you do more than 5 reps, a lot of people go, oh, it's cardio. You're just unfit. Like you're just unfit. Your cardiovascular system sucks. Therefore, you require more time to recover. Like you just got to work on your cardiovascular system. I don't want to, like most people don't want to because they feel it will affect their strength gains. Well, I can confidently say, if you consistently train that same movement pattern combined with cardiovascular, your body will adapt. The body, for millions of years, we have people that are super cardiovascular fit and super strong. Usually, for the elite of the elites, they do tend to favor one the other. But if you're not wanting to be an Olympic athlete and specialize in that one thing, then I probably wouldn't worry about it. Like, let's focus on our health and well-being, and let's get strong as possible. And strength being the ability to control full range of motion would be very important to work towards, right? There's no need, there's people going, you need to shock the body. Cool. Let's go into work. Like, think of your career as you're listening to this. I want you to walk into the office and change everything you do every single day. You would find that pretty stressful. Success leaves clues in the sense of you do the same thing repeatedly, you get a better result. You know what you're doing. Same thing with training. There is no need to shock your body. The reason for shocking your body is you're bored And the reason probably why you're bored is because you've plateaued and you just don't know how to get out of it. So keep listening because you're about to find out strategies to help yourself. All right. Lifting less than 5 reps is not going to build muscle. If you apply load to a muscle, it will grow. Um, cool. Let's go to the next point. So let's really just dive into understanding like the main training split. So this, we're going to talk about the training split number 1, and we're going to give you examples of this. So the most popular one that we use at Vitruvian Health is an upper lower split, because when you train your upper body and you're sore the next day, your lower body's fine. So then you train your lower body. So we use an upper lower split. Now, the training splits in an upper lower example is really like on the day I train, I'm going to work this program, or it's called a macro mesocycle, like for the week. Well, in a mesocycle, it breaks down the week. So you have, say, 4, 5, 6, or 3 training days. And the microcycle is what you're doing on the day. So on today, you're going to do upper body. And then on the next day, lower body. So if you look at your waist, anything up, free game. You're going to train it on the upper day. Anything below the waist, you're going to train that on the lower body day. Okay. Have Wednesday off, have an active recovery, get a massage, and then you do the same Thursday, upper body, and then Friday, lower body. Cool. So that's your first split. Now, another way to look at a upper lower split, which is what I like to use, is more a skill acquisition or movement specific patterns. So for example, on Monday, we're going to do horizontal work. So like horizontal press movement, pull work. On day 2, it's the vertical. So lower body, we're doing the squat movements, anything that works on the squat. So if I do hip thrusts and then I have a weakness in my squat pattern and I need to do more hip extensions, I do squats and hip extensions with hamstring curls. Then on the Thursday, the upper day again, but everything's vertical. So push, like shoulder press, pull-ups. And then on Friday, we do deadlifts. So it's the other lower body exercise. And I can combine that with some hip extensions again, because, I want those peaches, right? So that is my personal preference of a training split, which is where I work on the skills and the weaknesses. So it's movement. You could do bench press Monday and the Thursday for your upper, but I like to do horizontal and vertical. So we work all movement planes. Now, the other bonus to that is you can chuck in arms. So this Saturday, as it's for a skill or a weakness, I like to do arms or accessories on the Saturday. So I do 5 days as a training split. Okay. The third training split that we have is a push-pull legs. So you'll be looking at training 6 times or 5. So push-pull is anything push-related is done on the Monday. Then anything pull-related is done on the Tuesday. And then legs done on the Wednesday. Now, I used to do this one where I would have Thursday off, and then I would kind of do chest, the push in the morning and then the pull in the evening, or I would just do push and then pull on the Saturday. I would only train legs once. Now, I have big legs, so I always trained legs. So, of course, I did double legs, and I just sacrificed the push or the pull day, and that's why my upper body was pretty small. So Monday would look like you train chest, shoulders, and triceps. Tuesday, train back, biceps, abs, and forearms. Booyah. Then on Wednesday, we're training legs, so squats, lunges, hip thrusts, leg extensions. I would incorporate some deadlifts there. Or if you wanted to do more back, do rack pulls. Then Thursday, chest, shoulders, and triceps, or off. And then Friday would be back, biceps, abs, and forearms again. And Saturday, legs, Sunday rest. So if you don't want too much legs, you just do chest, shoulders, and triceps on the Friday, back, biceps, abs, and forearms on the Saturday. All right. Then the fourth training split is a full body split. So there's 2 ways to do this one. So you could do just same program every second day. So you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So Tuesday and Thursday are off. So this one is really good for people that need time efficiency. So just get in, get out. So you do 3 days as a whole, but you train full body. The other one could be whole body day. So we could whole body day 1 and whole body day 2. And that could be, training the front of the body, chest, abs, your biceps, your quads, your calves. And then the whole body day 2 is hamstrings, tibs, glutes, back, lower back, upper back, triceps, shoulders. And so you could do Monday, whole body 1, Tuesday, whole body 2, Wednesday off, Thursday, whole body 1, and Friday whole body 2, Saturday, Sunday off. Or you could even do like what I mentioned at the beginning is you could do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you do 6 workouts in the given week. Number 4 is you could do a blended split. So it's exactly the same as the above, but what you're doing is you're creating a different intention. So within the mesocycle of the week, so if we're doing whole body day 1, whole body day 2, that could be focused on powerlifting movements. So squat, bench, dead, doing 5 reps, focusing on like heavier loads, taking longer rests. And then on the Thursday, Friday, you could do more metabolic stress work, maybe for hypertrophy or fat loss, and you're focusing on high rep work. So I might be focusing on, say, day 1, let's think, say, bench press. So do bench press, powerlifting movements, strength, because everyone likes to do bench. What are your numbers, bro? I do 100. Ha, I do 101. Ha, ha, ha. And then on the Thursday, I'll do dumbbell press. So when bench pressing, a lot of people think it's for pecs, but the pec works in adduction for contraction. So you actually don't adduct your arm when you're bench pressing. It's actually going slightly out and away. So what you want to be doing is dumbbell pressing, pushing together to bring up that chest. It does work to stabilize the shoulder, but it's not as, doesn't work as much as compared to a dumbbell press if you wanted to favor hypertrophy for bringing up your chest for the guys and the girls. All right, ladies. So you can still bring your chest up. And fun fact, if you work your pecs, your boobs get bigger. But Carl, you wouldn't have any direct correlation experience with that. Correct. I do not have breasts. I cannot 100% say to that. However, I've trained females who have worked on their pecs and that were also improving their posture and their chest and bust looked bigger. From them reporting it and photo evidence. No physical touching was applied, of course. Above the belt, people, above the belt. Thank you. Then, so that would be a blended method. And then we have a 5-day split. So this is more of a bro routine. And this worked quite well for a while. Like I did this like for 20 weeks, which we're going to get into more in this in a minute. But I did this where I did Monday, I did chest, then Tuesday back, Wednesday shoulders, arms Thursday, and legs Friday. I did legs on the Wednesday myself, but I don't know why did I type that. I'm going to fix that right now. Change my notes. So legs in the middle. And that's where most people do it because they forget to train on the Wednesdays. And that's why they have been robbed by an ostrich. The ostrich stole their legs and they have ostrich legs. So 5-day split, which is based off body part specific. Now, another split that I just through reading picked up from Stefan Ionev from Clean Health, he does so he does a body part split as well, but he uses it as an indirect direct method. So what's the difference between bro split and indirect direct method? So for example, I'm going to do back, I'm going to do pull-ups, I'll do seated rows, and then I'll do bicep curls, right? But indirectly, his split would be, we'll do pull-ups, and then I'll do Romanian deadlifts. So I'm still working my grip on my back, but I'm also working my hamstrings indirectly through that movement pattern, right? And so, so that can be a nice way to train a bit of variety into your program whilst indirectly hitting other muscle parts. So rather than you having to train 5 times a week, you could train, say, 3 times a week. An alternative, so we're going to train legs. So you could be, again, using the trap bar, using more rhomboids, lats, and forearms. Okay. You could also do some pauses at the bottom, which will directly, like in a squat, challenging your core muscles. Okay. You could do upright rows. So there's incorporation of the biceps and forearms, and even just some grip work, like hangs. So again, working the forearms, but retracting, pressing those shoulders. So you're working the shoulders, but then you're bring the knees to the chest, challenge the abs again. So you're having, instead of just hanging there, you can change the technique or form. Okay. So with all of this being said, these are some varieties of training splits The typical ones that we use is full body and upper lower, where we work on more skill, or we use a power strength program, which is focusing on um, bench, horizontal, squat, vertical, and deadlift, and arms. That's one that I've been using for a long time myself. I'm actually changing it to be, I'm going to be using a 3-day split for myself for the next month or two, where I'll focus on probably training. I'll be training for about 2 hours. So that's the only downside with training less days, so that it requires a bit more. So do deadlifting and prowler work. So full body and cardiovascular work or metabolic work on the Friday. Then I'll train on Tuesday, more gymnastics. So a lot of hang work, a lot of mobility work, it's quite tight. And then I'll train upper body arms with Dan Henderson at his nice facility on Saturday. So Tuesday will be probably the biggest day. So I will do squats and vertical press work instead of bench press, because it's vertical's harder, in my opinion. And also I don't need a spotter to help me unrack a bench press. So if I'm training alone, so vertical, which will have a positive improvement on my bench press ability over time too. So even the bench press, I don't see as much of a correlation over to my vertical press. Now, so those are splits. Now, what do I do with those splits? So in the past, so if you're someone who's looking to get stronger and you're like, I don't want to put on mass, typically you would look at a 3 or 4 day split program. So what you're doing is you're challenging your nervous system. You're looking at adding 2.5 to 5% more weight each week. So if you did squats at 100 kilos today, do 105 next week, then 110, then change the program. Now, the change could be you go from a close stance to heel elevated, or you change from a back squat to a low bar or to a safety bar. So when you're making changes in your program every 3 or 4 weeks, you change something in the movement. Now, if you're doing a 4-day split for hypertrophy or body compositions, you're looking to do the same thing, but you're looking to push close to failure. So you might not have a 5 to 10% increase. So you might go 100 kilos, then week 2, decrease the recovery, maybe do an added sets, increase in volume. Then week 3, look to increase the load. And then week 4, decrease rest or add an extra set. And that's a way to stimulate metabolic stress. And then you look to make a little change. Then there are other programs that I've done, which for hypertrophy reasons, which was 6 and 8 weeks. So the idea is that by the 3rd or 4th week, you've probably plateaued or tapped into your adaptation of training. So what that means is, like for bicep curl, I might go 10, 12, 12 more reps, then 14, then 14, and I'm like 14 again. So now I'm having to really grind out that movement. I'm really fighting to get more reps in it. And it's at that point that you're really looking to challenge your body. And that's where you stimulate growth. You'll also still build strength, but a little bit more of a grind. Now, at the end of the week 5, I would do an added set to guarantee more volume in the muscle, because you may hit a plateau, but you're kind of like, well, stuff you muscle, you need to grow or you need to work harder, add an extra set. But at the end of that week, you'll do a deload to allow yourself to recover. Now, that's more for athletes, but for Gen Pop as well, it's nice to know that you've got a week where, you know, you're working hard and you get a week off, or you do half the volume, right? And usually when you change the program, no one ever has gotten a brand new program and maxed out everything. Why? Because the technique, the implements have to be changed. Like, you need time to adapt to the movement. So that's why it takes 2-3 weeks. Now, if you're going, but Carl, I always give 110%. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to say to you that if you jump on a machine and let's say it's a leg press and you do 10 reps close to failure or to failure, and then you have a minute rest and you jump back on and you do another 10 reps, and then in your third set, you do another 10, but you go, oh, it's my last set, and then do 12. Well, your last 2 sets were a warm up. You actually didn't push close to failure. A lot of the time we keep reps in reserves. We naturally don't want to like smash ourselves. And then 6 seconds later go, I got to do that again. Well, yeah, you do. But always recommend keeping a rep or 2 in reserve so form doesn't break down, because no program is successful if your form keeps breaking down. If you break down your form, you have a risk of injury. You're going to find like everything goes shit. Like, no matter, like, really doesn't matter about the program. If your form breaks down, the program is no longer good enough. Like, doesn't matter if it's written by me or anybody else. Once your form breaks down, compromised, the load, it's just inefficient. Because if you want to guarantee your success in any training program, strength, hypertrophy, fat loss, you need progressive overload over time. You need controlled range of motion. Doesn't have to be fast or slow. It's just controlled. Ideally, when you contract, you're explosive. So controlled range of motion, control the full range of motion. So it shouldn't be changing. So rep 1, you go all the way down, all the way up. And rep 2, you go almost all the way down, all the way up. You've now just changed the tension and the load through that whole muscle and that whole movement. It's now like, well, it's inconsistent. Form is broken down. And then 3 is no pain. So usually if there's pain, and you see heaps of people like their form breaks down, there's going to be a point where it just breaks. It's just a matter of time. I'm not saying this to anyone like keep going and then to your break. It's like, no, just if you're looking at it and you go, oh, something's up. Like your program should be tailored to fix the weaknesses. Like still do squats, still do bench, still do deads, still pull-ups. But if you're noticing that your shoulder's picking up, don't just keep going. Like maybe stop, set, or at the end of your program, work on that weakness and go, I'm going to do scap pull-ups because my scapulars or this movement, I keep losing it. It's not as strong as the pull-up itself. So I'm going to work that as an accessory. In a weak link program, you would train that first, then do pull-ups. So yeah, if your form is breaking down, the program is no longer working for you, it's no good because there's a higher risk to injury, in my opinion. Now, there are programs where you can do 20 weeks of length. So the 6 and the 8 weeks, you have a week where you're just finding your weights. Like, you go, man, could I do 12? Could I do 14? Oh, wow, I could do 16. Like most people, they'll do the 10 reps. Yep, that was good. They add more weight. They do another 10 reps and they go, great, I'm done. And they move on. And those people, when doing that, they actually don't push themselves close to failures. They go, yeah, I felt that that one set was close, but it's like you're meant to do 3 working sets. So in a preload week, you do 2 sets, true failure. So you shouldn't be able to exceed your reps. So if you do 14 kilos for 10 reps, you increase the weight, go 16 kilos. If you do 10 reps again, the first set was a warm up. That's your first working set. Then go 18. I got 9 reps. Great. You've done 2 working sets. So next week, you know, I'm going to do 18 kilos. I need to hit more than 9 reps. 10, great. I'm either going to stay here 10, 9, 9. Great. I pushed myself. Or I go 20 kilos. You complete 3 working sets. That, because by finding that weight, you might do 4 or 5 sets, but you weren't lifting a true load. So your total tonnage, you've lifted quite a bit. And total tonnage is the weight you lift times the reps times the sets. So if you do 100 kilos for 10 reps, that's 1,000 kilos. 3 sets is 3,000 kilos. Now, if you did 90, 95, 100, 100, you'd definitely be exceeding 3,000 kilos. But each rep, the total load wasn't as much at 90, 95, 100 is much more, but the total volume. So there's 2 variables there. The load that's lifted in the 1 rep and the total. So when you come to your next week, the total load that's on you for every rep is higher, but the total tonnage may be a little bit less, but you'll progressively build on that. Then from there, you would continue to do this each week, progressing in reps or load. And then what you would do, what you would do is by the second last week, you are going to work on a max volume week. So the thing is, you're going to plateau, you're going to hit a sticking point. Most for strength, change the program. But the thing is, if we want to create adaptation or really challenge ourselves, you know, we want to get to the point where form is almost about to break down. And this is the heavy meaning. If form is breaking down, stop. Technical breakdown. There's something going on. You know, this is why hiring a coach, they can look at it and go, yeah, your traps are like just having trouble. What does that mean? Well, what's happening is you're just letting your shoulders come forward. Lift your chest. Oh, wow, that feels so much better. Boom, boom. Because, you know, we've all got careers and jobs. How often are you always thinking about absolutely everything you should work on? I'm thinking about those accounts that need to be finalized. Cool. Wish I had a coach there to remind me. Oh, yeah. Press a few more and then you're like back to accounts in your head. So we just need reminders. So, but if you don't have a coach, use a mirror. Send me a video of your form. I can give you feedback. Always happy to do that. And from there, you're going to, like, the form breaks down, you stop. Now, when you stop, you might go, well, I could have done 2 or 3 more. Well, max volume week, you do an extra set. So that will increase total tonnage. So if you did 4,000 kilos total tonnage, so you did 4 sets, so 3 sets, 4,000 kilos, it's like, oh, but I need to push to failure. I need to do more. No, just do an extra set. So if you did an extra, say, 8 reps, that's an extra, and you're doing 100 kilos, that's an extra 800 kilos. So your total tonnage increases. So there is a point where per rep, the total load will drop off, or like you can't keep pushing heavier. That happens. Maybe it's sleep, you're stressed, under recovered, or maybe you are hitting that plateau point because that you've exhausted the fibers in that movement pattern. Great. Then we take a deload week. So we stress the muscle, and then we take a deload week, because if we keep building on that, we're just going to be like a vegetable. So we take a deload week, allows the nervous system to recover, because when we recover, that's when we have the adaptation. It's create the stress, then we recover. Right? Now, I've done that across 8 weeks and 20 weeks. And honestly, it's boring. And you know what's boring? Not getting results. So at Vitruvian Health, what we've done is we've created a system that gets the 8 weeks. So we really like creating those like getting close to that plateau and changing, but at the same time, making sure we're getting stronger and assessing what's going on. So we build our programs off a 4-week period. At 4 weeks, we assess, number one, what don't you like? If you're like, I really hate lunges, cool, then we'll change that, because if you hate it, you're not going to want to do it. And program's only successful as your form is maintained and you enjoy it. So that's what we do. When form breaks down, usually we see plateaus in strength early, or we see plateaus before. So if you are saying doing squats and you're doing 100, 105, 110, 115, and you're still going up, you still feel good, we can keep that exercise. But on your hamstring curls, dorsiflex, toes pull towards you, you're doing 20, 22.5, 25, 25, 25. Cool, that exercise hasn't progressed in 3 cycles. It's time to change it. Could be point the toes now. And that creates a change, and you're just different stimulus on the muscle. So boom, off we go. So we change it at 4 weeks, make micro adjustments. And for you, those that are focusing on hypertrophy or fat loss, we add a max volume week at, so technically the 7th week, but halfway we have a change, which is great. You know, makes it a little more exciting. You have some exercises where you're doing a bit of a preload week, trying to find the right weight, trying being the word, because you'll hit a point where you're like, maybe that's where your coach guides you. And then you stick at it for another 2 weeks and you hit max volume week. Now, if your goal is strength, we just make some changes to the program, and then off we go. So we keep the same sets and rep scheme. So then if you're going, I have to learn a new exercise, but the reps are still the same, awesome. There's less to have to think about. So you can get in, get out. At the 8-week mark, we then review, reassess, and then start again. So usually when programs, everything changes, it's like, it's a lot to remember. And shout out to Kylie and Joe, who notoriously over the years would just look at me and be like I love Kylie. Like her programs would, like, we'd make changes, like change everything in program. She'd be like, and Kathy as well. She'd be like, why have we changed everything? I was just enjoying these exercises. So I realized some exercises made it easier, 1, to remember, 2, for progression, and just more enjoyable. So we look at what's working, what's not, change the things that aren't working, and we discuss. So there are also times where they would turn to me and be like, why has my warm-up not changed? Because posturally you need these exercises. Okay, have we changed my exercise in my program? Yes. Okay, I'm okay with that. But next month, there better be changes to my warm-up. And so usually in your accessory work, because you've spent a few weeks learning, refining, improving on those weaknesses, they might still be there, and that becomes your new warm-up routine. So usually with our warm-ups, it's most people's workouts, because we work on targeting the weakest link in your body, so you just get stronger faster. Like if you're weak through your abdominals, guess what you usually avoid? You're training your abdominals. Well, guess what you're going to train first? Your abdominals, because you're freshest then. And then by training, that might drop, quote, quote, your strength in the other moves, but it might just be that that's where your weakness or your strength leakage is. And that's actually where your true strength is, without compensation. So in summary, for those who've tuned in, you've got a variety of training splits. So you've got upper, lower, full body. You've got weak links, you've got powerlifting, bodybuilding splits, you have skill splits, you have bro splits, training different body parts. And then across the cycle of a program, you could do 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 20 weeks. You can pick any weeks that you like. Typically, from a strength perspective, where you don't want to really build too much muscle and you don't want your body comp to change, but you're just getting really strong. Usually, you look at a 3 or 4 weeks rotational programs every 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, changing your program. That's what we call a macro cycle. So it's the overarching theme of the whole phase, like your German volume trainings, your 10 by 10s, your 6, 12, 25s. So the different methodologies or focus on that program. Then your mesocycle is the breakdown of the week to week. So what am I doing for this week? It's upper, lower, great. And the microcycle is what are you doing in that specific day of that program? From there, there's the experiences that I've had, ones that I like for strength, like I like every 3 weeks the program to change, but not massively. So the biggest things that most trainers will do is they'll change the program completely. And there's not a real need for that. Yes, it makes it more fun, but you know what's fun is getting results. So when we look at our programs every 4 weeks, we go, what's working, what's not? And usually if you look at a program and if the weight is not progressing, you've probably hit a plateau. It could be technical. That's why having a coach there can review it with you, or it's strength based and it's time to change those exercises because there are different fibers and muscles. Like you could just be plateaued in a neutral grip curl, but not supinated. Great. But Carl, I don't want big biceps. We could just take up the bicep curl, but I want more tricep. Now we've got space for a tricep. I hope you found this helpful and I wish you all the best till the next table talk. We'll pull up a chair and have a great day. Hey, thanks so much for joining the episode of Table Talk today. We hope you found some helpful tips and inspiration in staying healthy and fit, even with a busy schedule. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Stay tuned for our next conversation. Until then, keep prioritizing yourself, your health, your fitness, and we'll see you on the next Table Talk.